Welcome, mortals. Welcome back to Mondays in the Mortal Realms. Steve and I have some unfinished business here today because we only got halfway through our ranking last week. I thought we'd get through all of it, and we really struggled to get through half of it.
Yeah, I think we started to rush.
We started to rush, and we don't want to do that. So there's some good news on that front, which is the same as the bad news, which is this was a very light week for Warcom and AOS. We literally saw just, hey guys, remember there's things you can order.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else.
No.
Right before stream started talking, Steve and I were talking right before the stream, and we were asking what's coming out next, what's coming in the pipeline, hypothetically speaking.
Yeah.
You were asking an interesting question. One army absent from our ranking, Flesh Eater Courts.
Yeah. Where are the Flesh Eater Courts?
Where are Flesh Eater Courts? Do you think they might get a book like Ironjaw's got?
No, they haven't got a third edition book.
Do you think they're going to give him one at this point?
I don't see why not. Like, there's a long time before the next edition rolls around. Assuming, we're all assuming it's next year, 9 months. So, assuming that, yeah, I mean, really, I would kind of expect to see them land in this sort of fall Halloween season because it makes sense. The Flesh Eater Courts is a good theme. They're due a refresh. But then there's also this big open amount of time all next year. Where I'm like, what's going to be like? Are we going to have no new armies?
So do we know how many Harbinger books we're getting?
No, I'd guess 4.
4? Okay.
Yeah.
So I would submit a couple things. One, we are getting those,
and I think they'll all be out before Christmas.
All of them.
I don't think there's. I mean, isn't there like an Warhammer Day soon where they're going to announce a bunch of stuff?
This upcoming weekend.
Okay,
Yeah.
Right. Oh well, so we'll have stuff to talk about next.
We'll have stuff to talk about next.
But I would imagine they show us more the roadmap because I suspect what we're going to get between now and Christmas is the 2 remaining books in the Harbinger series.
All of that between now
and the Flesh Eater Courts. Yeah,
that's
much. Like 2.5 months though. You think about how many releases there's been this year. Like that, there is nothing announced for that window, and it's also a big retail window. It's the window between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Well, they also
huge buying window.
They also have to release a few other things, right? So they need to release cities. Officially release cities.
Wait, cities not out yet?
They did this funky release where only came out in the box set.
I thought they did the first release of the separate units. Has that not happened
No.
yet? Oh, okay. So there's that too. There's that too.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, that feels like a good amount of stuff to get us to Christmas.
They've got to release cities. They've got to release boxes. Christmas boxes.
Yeah, but they're always a very specific window. They know that they're coming.
Yeah.
Like they already know what they are. Like, they'll have that planned into the schedule.
What is your Christmas box wish list? Tell me one box you want.
Truthfully,
Mm-hmm.
none, because I have too many projects on the
too
go.
many projects.
But in terms of like what I want for people who want to start a new army,
what's cool?
I'm trying to think. What army hasn't had a good box let me come back to that.
Okay.
I need to think
can I
about
give you
that one.
mine?
Yeah, sure.
So, I actually think mine is probably also going to happen.
Okay.
I think it's going to be cities. I think it's going to be all of the Castellite stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they make a theme usually with the box, or they try to.
And they're always incredibly good.
Except for one unit, which makes no sense in there. Because it wouldn't be Games Workshop if there wasn't.
It can't be exactly what you want.
It has to be. It makes total sense.
Oh, there'll be a Seraphon one. There'll be a Seraphon.
Yeah, you think so?
There'll be a
so
Seraphon
I think
one. All the new range. It'll be stacked to the rafters with Kroxigors and cavalry.
It'll be. You think so, or will it be like the? Well, yeah, the Vanguard box is very coalesced. You think Christmas box?
I think it'll be coalesced. Yeah,
it'll be very coalesced.
Yeah.
A very coalesced Christmas.
A very coalesced Christmas. Because how do you get people away from the saucy nonsense that is all slams all the time?
Yeah.
Is you make every product skew coalesced.
Yeah.
To try and get people to, because like we've said, there is definitely play in that book that people are just not really focusing on.
We haven't seen a Triceratops or Bastiladon included in a box in a while.
Bastiladon, yeah, because that used to be in the skink box.
Right?
They will probably put that in, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll see Stegodons on account of their all garbage now.
Well, they
might put it in.
Is that,
they might put it in.
a factor for them? I don't know.
But I think it'll be, I think it'll be Croxicores, Skinks, a big monster, and
so
maybe the
that's
Carnosaur
right.
guy.
They'll do Croxigores and Skinks.
Yeah,
They have but no Saurus Warrior.
They might put some of the cavalry in. It might be like one unit of the cav, the cavalry hero, the Skinks, a monster, Croxigores.
I think we'll see for cities. I think we'll see shooty guys, Fusiliers, Fusilier General,
Captain Boy in the Crow's Nest.
Yeah.
The cannon.
The cannon.
Yeah. Two or three of those cannons, because they aren't selling any of those in a normal box. They might as well just fill that box with them.
I think they should probably put 2 in, but my guess is they're going to put 1. They don't.
I can see them doing 2.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I think they'll probably throw a unit of Steel Helms in there.
Yep.
Then I think they might put that new unit, the command
squad. Yeah. I think it'll be a perfect complement to whatever the starter box was.
Yeah.
It will add to that naturally, and I think if you did the math on it, it'll probably come to a really good points value, like 1,500 or something like that.
Yeah.
That will be like the expansion box.
Yeah.
So they'll have cities, they'll have Seraphon. What else? Maybe a Trog centric box. Maybe Trog, because it's been really hard to get hold of the Trog units.
Yeah.
And they did Squigs last year. They had the big Squig box.
And they're not going to do spiders.
They are not.
They're paying people for those spider riders.
Maybe a corn box.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe a corn box with all the mortals in and stuff like that. That could be fun. That could be a cool box.
That could be fun.
Yeah, because they always do one for each Grand Alliance. Always.
At least one. Death, what do you think? Nighthaunt? Nighthaunt haven't seen anything in a while. Or Flesh Eater Courts.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing. If we assume Flesh Eater Courts are going to get their refresh,
the
money I would put on they will get the Christmas box this year, and it will be all their new kits.
Yeah. No Christmas boxes in the Rhodes household though.
I don't think so.
Under the tree.
Sometimes too
much.
Yeah, I mean sometimes I pick one up just in case I want to do an army in the future because they're always such good deals.
They're great.
And you can always basically sell them on for what you pay. I've sold a few now that I bought thinking I might do an army, and then I've sold
just
it
get your money back.
Exactly what I paid for it.
Yeah.
Because they're always useful.
That Bone Reapers one last year was crazy.
Oh my god! If I didn't have all my Bone Reaper stuff, I would have absolutely picked that box up. Fantastic.
Good. Okay, well look, we actually don't know anything.
We know nothing,
and we kind of like it that way. I kind of like it that way.
Me too. I like being surprised.
But I was thinking about rumors.
Right.
Have you ever noticed how rumors are like, oh yeah, there's gonna be Dark Elves.
Oh, look. I'm a huge Dark Elf player. I played Dark Elf in the old world. I played them for like 4 editions. I had a huge Dark Elf army. I love Dark Elves. I have been holding on to that rumor every year since they showed that piece of art of Malarian. And every year I let myself get hopeful and then I get my dreams crushed. So now I'm just like, I will get excited about it when the words come out of Matt Rose's mouth that the Umbraneth are coming. And until then, I ignore everything because I cannot give myself the hope.
I think rumors. This is exactly it, right? You see rumors for you'll see a rumor for Dark Elves, Umbraneth, right? You never see a rumor for a Crown Spine, right? The people who come up with rumors are so unimaginative. Yeah. They're like Bretonia.
Well, that's the thing. No one really knows, and Games Workshop are very good at if something leaks that's tangible, it will leak enough where everyone's saying the same thing, and that's usually something that they've put out there.
Right.
So if there's nothing about a certain topic and people are making stuff up, I feel like it's very obvious at this point.
I think so too. You never see rumors for the things that someone in the design studio, like a Crown Spine, a King Broad.
Well, they also show the roadmap so far in advance now. You go back 4 or 5 years, Games Workshop would not tell anyone anything. Now they're like, here's a roadmap for 12 months. And so there's no real... Rumors are kind of, pointless now. I mean, it's fun to speculate. We do a lot of it, but I also like being surprised and getting excited. Like the second thingy book being destruction-based with the Trump King. No idea that was coming.
And
not a clue.
The Iron Jaw supplement kind of
never heard... Didn't hear anything about that. So...
But it is fun to speculate on Christmas. Holiday.
Yeah, that is fun because we know they're always going to come, right? We know they're down there. They're always going to be a thing.
I'm guessing 40K is going to get a Tyranids one and a Space Marines one.
Probably.
I don't know what else. We'll see.
But again, not to go back to me getting my hopes up, but there is a big 6-month window, January to the release of 4th,
Yeah.
where there is nothing that we know of.
Yeah.
And the one army that is really missing from, Age of Sigmar as a collective is the Dark Elves.
Oh, I see.
They are the major faction that doesn't really have representation
But they just
yet.
got this inclusion in the cities book, right?
Well, the old models do. I think we're going to see what like Lumineth got. I think they're going to be a completely new faction, completely redesigned from the ground up, with elements of that original DNA. And those rules will probably end up finding their way across because
does that become like one of those like the Maul tribe book, Beast Claw Raiders?
Yeah.
Beast Claw Raiders, Gutbusters with like daughters.
Yeah, I think so.
Like a...
Yeah, well, again, it depends where they go with the narrative because Marathi's kind of isolated herself from everyone in the story. Right. She betrayed Sigmar. She took over a city by force. She's still fighting, the good fight in air quotes, but she's not really aligned with, her and the Lumineth are kind of out on the fringe now of being the kind of, not really part of the alliance.
Yeah.
But they are Order.
Yeah. There's wily elves.
Yeah.
And they're Deepkin or Lumineth? You mean Deep?
Oh, sorry, Deepkin. I meant Deepkin. Yeah. The Deepkin and Marathi kind of had a somewhat alliance going.
Yeah, it's like the Outcast. It's like the Too Cool for School club.
Yeah, it is. But Malarian, the way
they're like still in all the like honors and AP like high level classes, but they like smoke in the bathroom.
But they have their own little clique building within the alliance. But the stories they've had Malarian in, because he's actually been in fiction already. Like he's talked with Marathi and with other characters. He still seems like he's the leader of the Dark Elves, but they aren't quite as fringe as Marathi is. Like he's still, willing to partner with like Sigmar and the other gods, and is willing to do, because him and Teclis have been focused about imprisoning Slaanesh and keeping that going. It was kind of a bargain between those two. So yeah, I don't know if they will end up putting Marathi in with him in that book, or if they'll try and keep them separate.
It's her son?
In the old world, but now he's kind of a new character.
Okay.
Because he's kind of the fusion of Malekith, who is her son, and an Aryan who was his dad, and that Malarian he's kind of...
I see, okay.
In the destruction of the old world, he's kind of
So it's now a combination of Marathi's... The person her lover and her son. That's very awkward. It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, but they've always had a weird relationship. It's kind of still within the theme.
Yeah, okay. Well, this will be a time to, before we speculate further, move on to the business at hand. Yeah. Now listen, here is today's reminder of where we ended yesterday. Steven, any call out, anything you want to lay in to me on here?
What do you mean?
Did I get anything super wrong? I'm trying to look and see if I want to scold you for anything.
You've put a lot in C. I think you're very critical.
I am.
You're very, very critical.
I am.
You put daughters in C, which I think is almost hypocritical coming from you.
Yeah. I was looking at that today and thinking they could be in B. The problem with daughters...
I don't feel like Marathi is as much of a problem that it bumps the book down to C as like a unfun factor, because she is quite easy to play around.
She's fun to play.
She is fun to play. Yeah. She does a lot of cool things. She's very unique.
You don't hate taking her. You don't hate that you have to take her.
And I don't really hate seeing her across from me.
Yeah.
With a Cronspine, I'd hate that, because that's a horrible combination. Anyone who does that, I think...
Maybe we'll set a game up for next week.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait for that. But no, I think the Daughters book... I think the big criticism of the Daughters book for me is that it's just shallow. There's just not a lot in it. But I think what is in it, they do a lot with. I think there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's almost no bad units. We even talked about... I've even brought up Doomfire Warlocks, which are amazing in 1,000 point games. They just start... They do everything okay. Yeah. They start to be not as useful in a 2,000
they're thematic.
They're thematic.
And they're interesting.
Super cool looking model.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I might be wrong there. I also think... Okay, the one I think you're off on is Stormcast. I think Stormcast deserve to be a little higher because the book has one major problem. Two problems. One, we're saying we don't care too much about. That is, how competitive is it?
Sure.
We care about that a little bit. It's not fun to know you're going to lose with your faction.
Yeah, I think that goes into the playability and like how fun is it to play? How fun is it to play against? It's super fun to play against because you just crush it.
It almost has a bloat problem that we've discussed. There's too many things.
Yeah.
And a lot of the teching into specific groups doesn't actually work all that well.
No, you don't really gain. Like if the sub factions were the chambers, like okay, here's the sacrosanct chamber. You gain benefits for doing that, and it's all about resurrection and soul acquiring.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, okay, cool.
So a couple of the sub factions kind of tag into one of them, right?
Not really.
One of them tags into paladins.
Yeah.
And one of them tags into.
But again, it's not. That should be the whole warrior chamber. Like it should be. Oh, we're the warrior chamber. You know, we do all the warrior chamber stuff. Cool and good. One should be the Dracothian chamber. You know, I don't know. I mean, I've played more games with Stormcast than I'd warrant you've played games with Sigmar.
Probably
because
I mean,
I've
you've been
played them
like
since...
2 or 3 years before I have, so probably yeah.
And I again I will say, it's still the best Stormcast book they've done, and I think there's some really good stuff in there. The theming, some of the unit composition, the way certain things work. I just think the internal balance is completely off kilter, and there's about 60% too many war scrolls.
Yeah,
and it's just not fun to play anymore because everyone dumps on them.
Yeah.
Unless you take the 3 units or 4 units we talked about.
But even then, it can be a little bit of an uphill battle. Even then, you're not really getting, competitively speaking.
No. You take the dragon. If you took the dragons away from that book, like just erase them, the little dragons.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd have seen them at top tables the entire 3rd edition.
Yeah.
Like at all.
Probably not. Hey, Soups, thanks for the gift of memberships. We appreciate that. And look, it's worth pointing out, Soups, yes. I realize we're starting to sound like a reveal stream. We've not actually started talking about any of these yet. But here we go. Next book.
Next one.
The next book. One near and dear to my heart, Ogre Maul Tribes.
Yeah.
Where do you... So here we go. Where do you put Ogre Maul Tribes?
So I can't remember because this was your rankings. Have you put it up?
Your rankings?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Oh, do you want me to pull up the Discord where you send me your rankings?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Because I don't remember. I've slept since then.
I'm like quite a bit, hopefully. All right, let's pull up.
But while you do that, I can talk about my feelings of the book. Talk
about your feelings.
My feelings
for Ogre Maul Tribe.
I love this book.
Yeah.
I've never played with it no, I don't think I've ever played with it. But man, have I played a lot against it. Because you've had it. My friend Brad has it. I've played against it at events. I love this army. I think it's like so well crafted in terms of theme. I love how they're hungry or they're eating, and that impacts their stats.
Yeah.
I like how the different units operate within the book. I like that there's 2 very clear different groups within the book that feel well represented. So you can play like the Frost Lords, and that feels awesome.
And they can kind of like you can mix and match without huge penalties because Beast Claw Raiders still get their Everwinter thing, which isn't like the two things are the bite. From the Maul Gutbusters.
Yeah. You don't feel like you're missing out.
And the Everwinter. And they all still get it.
Yeah.
Right? I often forget my Bloodpelt Hunter's bite, like when I'm playing, because I just forget that that's a Gutbuster.
Yeah.
Right? But it's cool that it's still there. It doesn't go away. They're not like, oh, your general is in a Gutbuster. So
which is cool.
You can't bite. Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Again, kind of wish Seraphon had a bit more of that. Like, even if you take in Coalesce Saurus, you still want them to be able to, like, eat things and chomp on stuff, and it feels like... anyway.
So what makes you hesitant to put this up high? Or did you put it up high?
Well,
should we reveal?
Yeah, we can reveal.
Let's reveal. We have no real plan on reveal. We
so we're the
put
same.
it in B.
Yeah, and I think for me the reason it's not an A book and why it's a B book is because again the book is a little light on units. I think it could use a range refresh. Like, a lot of those units are...
Models?
Yeah, the models are very old. Like, I remember when those ogres came out for Fantasy.
Yeah.
And I was a kid.
Yeah.
So, like, they could use a refresh, I think. Especially now with AOS, with the bigger bases, more dynamic poses. I'd love to see what a good unit of Gutbusters look like now from AOS.
Well, we've chatted multiple times, I think, about the Bloodpout Hunter.
Oh!
And how cool looking he is.
I love that guy.
And how... proportionate. Everything about his proportions are wildly different than the old ogres.
And that's what ogres look like in the artwork.
Right.
Like,
it's
basically
cool.
giant, angry, hungry babies. Like monster babies.
Yeah.
And I think, having more of the units reflect that.
I've cited before that I think that they give them this kind kind of like Hills Have Eyes or Deliverance.
Yeah, it's very horror-y.
Style,
Yeah.
Appalachian, coal country.
Yeah.
The guys who live in the super backwoods feel, which is scary.
Yeah, totally.
And not really an aesthetic of fear that's been tapped into before.
Right.
In some kind of line like this. So it's interesting.
No, I love that. And I think, other than that, I think my big thing is, from a playability standpoint, is the all monster list can be oppressive if you don't know or don't have the tools to deal with it. It can be really horrible.
It can, as somebody who runs it. Now, I would say from the playability standpoint, just big groups of ogres that people want to take, foot ogres, gluttons, doesn't seem to work. And people, competitively. Now, that it's still fun, it's not bad. But
you can do some funny things with it, but it's not going to win you consistently.
You need either super shooty ogres, which have seriously tapered off. Yeah. I don't see them anywhere anymore. Very rare. The past few GTs I've been to did not see them. What I really see is what I take, which is it seems to be, if you want to do well competitively, your best bet is Beastclaw Raiders. It remains Stonehorns.
Yep.
Yeah. And that has been the story of that book since I've started playing, which means the last book. So it's been the story of that book for a while now. I think that foot ogres are better.
They are, for sure, and the cannons are demonstrably better. Like, they took a huge glow up.
Yeah, but things have not. There's something not quite working with the, 5-up armor, 4 wound.
Yeah, the
group of 6.
What are they called? The
gluttons.
The gluttons. Yeah, I feel
something's
like
not quite working.
Yeah, they're a little bit just not quite there, which sucks because their two other forms, the cannon wielding guys, which I completely forget the name of, and the big sword, the big great weapon guys, they're both really good units.
Both good.
And it's a shame that the base version hasn't really found its identity.
You end up spending, as you build a list, a lot of points on those. You end up spending a lot of points on those on the guns, or the what?
Yeah. Iron Blasters and Gutbusters, I want to say.
No, Gutbusters is the name of. It's the alternative to Beastclaw Raiders. It's
the
foot ogres. Iron.
Not Jaws.
Iron Guts.
Iron Guts. Yeah, they're really good.
So it other than that, I think it is a good book. I was almost hesitant to put it in A. For me, somebody who enjoys Beastclaw Raiders, even still, within that book, the internal balance, like I really am not. I mean, I don't even take Thunder Tusks.
No.
I really take Stonehorns and Mournfangs. People are like, "Oh, Thunder Tusks are good in the Horde meta, but it's not always a Horde meta."
But so are Thunder Tusks. No, Thunder Tusks. So Mournfang. Mournfang are really. Mournfang love Hordes. They love it.
Okay, so little internal balance issues, but model line issues, and I think I'm with you on that. Okay, next though, book, Slaves of Darkness.
We are going to get to an S. I promise. I swear.
We are going to
have
get
some
to
S books.
We have some S's. We do.
I feel like we're like really, really critical.
It's a while though. It's still a little bit.
Yeah, it is. It is a little while.
So
Slaves of Darkness.
Slaves of Darkness. What do you think? Oh, we just spoiled this.
Did we?
Yeah. Well, I said it's a while. It's not an S.
It's not an S. Yeah.
Close though for me.
Yeah, close for me too.
Yeah.
I think this is a really good book. I think this is one of my favorite book refreshes of the last few years. It's great. I think it's got quite a lot of scrolls in the book.
Yeah.
But I think they're all used well. I think they're all used differently. I think the book has loads of different playability options in terms of what you can build. Like, you can go Everchosen, you can go Horde, you can go like Elite, just sort of classic Chaos Warriors.
Props to them for making, even though they're not all great units, props to them for what they've done with the Warcry bands.
Oh, absolutely.
Some of them are crazy good, like Splintered Fang.
Yeah.
But but other ones are just okay, and like you have 100 points, and you're like, okay, Horns of Shoot, why not?
Yeah.
Okay, Corvus, Cabal, any of them almost are interesting.
They are, and I love a book where you can have an army that's what is it? It's like 12 models or 11 models.
Yeah.
And you can have a book that's 100 models.
Oh, right,
and everything in
right,
between.
right,
And like that flexibility, like the army that I lost to at BAO that ended up winning the event.
It's all Splintered Fang,
which was all just cultists. It was all cultists and beasts. It was fantastic.
He had like all Splintered Fang, and then he had like 2 Corvus Cabal.
And he had the Spharynx creatures.
Yeah.
Fantastic list. Like, such great, picking through that book and piecing that list together, I would have never got anywhere close to that list.
No, it's weird.
But the fact that you could run that, or you could run Archeon and 9 Varangard and a Sorcerer, and there's your list. And it's the book has such flexibility into it. And they also found a really clever way of incorporating that it is meant to be Chaos Undivided, but you can kind of specialize and make it feel like, okay, we're Chaos Khorne or we're Chaos Slanesh.
It doesn't feel confused anymore. It feels really nice and clear. You can take Be'lakor and bring in some Plague Bearers. And you can do a lot of cool little things.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. You can kind of lean demons. You can lean mortals. You can lead elite. You can lean horde. Just a great book. Really, really fun internal balance. Really nice model range. They did a whole bunch of refreshes. Yeah, there's a few.
And I want to talk about that few. So we both went A here on these. For me, keeping this from S is that there is a sub-faction, just spoilers, that's teching into monsters.
Yep.
But there really aren't monsters in this book that you want to take.
Right. Yeah.
There are really no monsters in this book that are compelling. And I'm sorry to say, I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers there, but I almost am including Archeon and Be'lakor in that list.
Interesting.
Compared to...
They're amazing models.
They're amazing models. But...
They're heroes, they're not monsters.
They're both monsters.
Yeah, but they're not... But they're, like, named character,
And they're... I mean, like... a lot of people think Be'lakor is cool, but they're up against Varangard, Hordes of Knights, and they're expensive, and also they're up against the coolest hero of all, Eternus, which is like, you super want to take Eternus. I'd rather take Eternus than Archeon or Be'lakor. He's the cool one.
He's awesome. He's very cool.
So, I don't know. I feel like that's what's missing is they kind of dropped the bomb on monsters. I
think this book would have been an S for me if they'd have given them a new Chaos Manticore like the Cities ones, which is incredible.
A new Chaos Manticore, some kind of... Yeah, I want... and I've been playing this, and I've been playing a book, and I've been playing Everchosen. I need more Chosen. You kind of know what I've been running a little bit, but it's been 5 Chosen and 10 Knights. Those are the hammers.
I don't think I've ever played against the Slaves.
We'll have to get a game, and it does not do damage. This army, I can do 10 Chosen, but like 10 Chosen still... It's a 2 damage weapon. Like, it's good. It's good, but it's not... They can fight twice once per game, but they fight last. You end up oftentimes losing a lot of them in between when they fight first and when they fight last, depending on who. Like, you're either wiping the thing, or you're up against something tough, and it might still be there, right?
Yeah. It's definitely more of a tanky army than a damage army.
It is so tanky.
Yeah, it's super tanky.
It is super tanky, but man, it struggles to put damage out. I know the list you're talking about is they have a shooting attack and melee, and it's 6s for mortals and all of them.
Yep.
Yeah. You're talking about the Splintered Fang.
But that army, I mean, the damage is good, but it's more just how it just controls the board and dominates the game. It just doesn't let you, get a word in edgeways. It pins you in. It makes positioning hard. It's super, super strong.
Yeah. So it's good, but it's not quite S tier for me or for you.
No, but it's a very, very good book.
I think it's the closest book so far.
Agreed, and it's the only book that's made me consider playing Chaos.
Oh, fun! Yeah, it's the only Chaos faction I really think looks like makes me want to play Chaos.
I love that classic Chaos Warrior look.
The Hero Quest.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, awesome, fun. Next we have. This is one I have to confess I don't know a lot about.
Okay.
So I gave it kind of a safe rating. This is Beasts of Chaos.
Right.
I've never played against this book ever. I know.
Ever?
I've never in any book version. I know it I know it a little bit. I know certain ones people like. It seems like a lot of the sub-factions it seems like multiple sub-factions are popular nowadays. Whenever I see competitive lists and I go and I look at it, I see a few different ones. I can't even remember what any of them are called. I know so little about this book.
Yeah, and that's fair. The game has a lot of books and a lot of armies, and they've all had a refresh more or less in the last few years. So there is a lot of content and a lot of different armies. And I wouldn't expect most people to know them all. I know very little about this book, but I have played against it, and I have got it, and I've read it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think this is one of those armies that's always struggled in AOS from a what is its purpose, what role does it fill,
Yeah.
where does it fit into the game.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Skaven in that regard. It's kind of like always been extremes. It's either crazy broken or it doesn't do anything, and it feels like this book.
Its old book was crazy broken. Its old book had this. I remember hearing this insane. Oh yeah, your basic troops are up to like Ren 3.
Yeah. It's always had a weird like it will either be garbage or it will have one funky combo that makes it ridiculously top table.
Right.
And this book's kind of found itself like a little bit more balanced, but it still has some gnarly tricks. There was a tournament, I don't know how long ago it was now, I'm going to say like 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Where the final game of the tournament was basically mirror of the same Beast of Chaos army, and one person deployed in a way that made it impossible for their opponent to deploy anything, and they won the game because their opponent couldn't deploy.
Yeah, I know it's a funky, cute trick army.
Yeah, it's very much like I'll tell you what, it's the most comparable thing is Gene Stealer cults.
Okay.
It is the Gene Stealer cult army of AOS.
And lore-wise, that kind of checks out, right? These are
they live in the forest.
They're like living out in the realms.
Yeah,
and they're
not really an organized force. They're more of like a rabble that gathers together and then it raids on places. So their whole thing is they come on in dribs and drabs. They come on from places you don't expect. Right. They kind of have a lot of ambushy tactics and techniques, but they also have some really solid monsters.
They do,
like some really powerful monsters and some good faction rules. I think. The thing that for me brings the book down is nothing to do with its rules apart from
model lines.
Yeah, it's the model line. Yeah. But again, if like you said you never really played against them before, they can be shockingly horrible to play against. If your opponent is playing them at the level, and you don't really know what they do, they will pull you apart.
Yeah, I know. Down in SoCal, my buddy Matt Nguyen plays this army. I've never played him.
Yeah.
Always chat with him, hang out with him a little bit. Whenever I go down there, see him. Never had a game with him. I know he does super well with them.
Yeah.
The guy, Noah Singh over in East Coast from Tough Crowd.
Yeah.
Won Nova, I think a year, not this one, but one with them.
It's always an army that you will see top tier players gravitate towards because it's always got some gnarly tricks and it allows you to be more reactive than a lot of other armies.
It looks fun. I just said only really Slaves of Darkness and Chaos interest me. This is probably the army that interests me next most. Yeah, but I need to see a more beautiful model line.
That's the thing. Its model line is ancient.
It can be gnarly.
It's ancient. Yeah,
it's the very beginning. Because I remember kind of being a kid when some of these start to come out.
Right.
And it's the very beginning of I'm trying to think. It's the very beginning of when they start to make models that are still hanging around. That old, it's like 2006.
Yeah, like the End Times era.
That End Times era. It's like I think it's like some of the beginning of that because a lot of those models. I mean, that's where Witch Elves are from. Witch Elves hold up great.
Yep.
In Sigmar, so it's like it's from then.
Yep.
But it's just like.
Yeah, they need to do. I
some of them are weird.
So, and I think I've said this.
They look like
on
melty.
The show. Yeah, I think what we'll see is when Old World comes around, I think they will get their plastic new kits then. And then you'll just use them because they are very much a old world army. Yeah. They were a big player in the Empire and Bretonia storylines. Like they were always one of the big problems of the area between Bretonia and the Empire was Beastmen, Hordes. So it wouldn't surprise me given the era that the old world is in and where they're going. I think they'll probably do the refresh for them and Skaven in that.
Interesting.
And they'll keep that's when. So they won't do a refresh for AOS. I don't think you'll see the AOSification of Beastmen.
Oh, that's too bad. I think I would want to see the AOSification.
Yeah, but I think it would end up just being a different faction to what you've got now. Like I don't think it would be Goatmen and all this stuff. I think you'd see it be something different.
Let's come up with a name for next. Let's like do some homework and come up with like the new because Beastmen is not cool sounding enough. No, that sounds old world.
Yeah, and when you see the artwork in the book, it's meant to be this horde of like gibbering horrors that are all different shapes and sizes, and it looks more like a Cronenberg.
But someone look up the goat, the word for goat, the like Latin word for goat, the Greek word for goat, and we'll like come up with
make a new name and then copyright it immediately.
We both put this in B.
Yeah.
I
think purely from a model range point of view and some internal balance issues, the book is just have and have nots. But I think again, like all third edition books. I think this is the best book and the best iteration of the book in Sigmar that they've had of Beast of Chaos.
Yeah, last iteration of the book, I've heard horror stories both ways. It's very swingy. Feels like Flesh Eater Courts, kind of how that book currently is. Like,
yeah,
you get these 1 or 2 builds that seem maybe like they're too broken, but then like against the wrong list, they just disappear.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have maybe a fan favorite for sure.
Gloomspike Gets. Okay. Here we go. We both play Gloomspike
We both
Gets.
have some Gloomspike Gets. Neither of us play the Gloomspike Gets.
No, ironically,
the
we
poster
don't.
boys.
Yeah, we play
we don't play Ultramarines here.
No, we play the hipster versions of Gloomspike Gets.
We both play hipster versions.
And we still get nerfs. We still get hit by nerfs. Unbelievable that Trunks got hit by nerfs. Outrageous. Anyway.
Mine didn't.
No, yours didn't. You. I mean, if I'm playing the hipster version of that book, you are playing the hipsters haven't even discovered yet.
Yeah, something. Yeah. It's real underground.
You're a time traveler from 10 years ago playing the book.
Or 10 years from the future.
Or 10 years from the future. Yeah, that's true. Gloomspite is I would say this is probably one of the best books in Age of Sigmar, full stop.
Okay.
In terms of, they went from...
I think I agree.
It's hard to describe and hard to... Like, if you haven't been playing Sigmar from the beginning of even 3rd, they were literally the bottom of the pile. They were the joke army. This is an F tier.
I remember this, yeah.
This book does nothing. All the units in it suck. No one plays this army. To we are now kings of the mountain, and we are the lords of destruction. This book is fantastic. They went in and they completely redesigned how it worked. They made all the factions feel distinct. They made all the units have relevance. They made it so you can either play 3 different armies within the different cultures, or you can play all as a big mix monster mash type thing where everyone's fighting together. The rules are flavorful. There's just enough chaos where it feels like Gits, where there's like people blowing themselves up and wizards that can do more and people who can eat mushrooms and go crazy, but it doesn't feel like it takes away any of the power or the playability of the book. I don't know. I think this one knocked it out of the park. I love this book. This is an absolute S for me.
You rated this S. This is our first S.
This is the first S.
I gave it an A, and here's why. I agree with everything Steven says, but my only issue is it's not just that I play spiders and spiders aren't good. I have fun with my spider army. I'm glad I have it. It's that squigs are cool. Everyone loves squigs. They're cute. They're funny.
Oh, and the
adorable.
model range is stunning. Like the model range is fantastic.
But that really is where the love has gone, continues to go.
Yeah.
And that, you know what? That happens. I don't know that always has to happen, but it feels, Trogs, the Trog models are a hold up though.
Oh, the Trogs are fantastic.
Yeah, especially the River Trog or
the Rock Trogs.
Fell Water. I mean, both of them.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, those kits were like they're getting on now.
They're also old.
But the way they built them makes them so dynamic and interchangeable, and like I've got, how many have I got? 18 Rock Trogs or whatever. None of them are repeats. And that it's unbelievable. And the big Trog guy and the new guy's fantastic. I haven't got him yet. He's impossible to get hold of.
Ragnarok's hold up. I mean, that's a newer kid anyway.
Yeah, Ragnarok's are great.
Ragnarok's great.
And honestly, now that, a couple of weeks ago I'd have said, oh, spiders have got no chance of ever getting a new refresh.
Mm-hmm.
But now that they just secretly and not secretly and just sort of randomly went, oh, by the way, here's like a complete new wave 2 of the Iron Jaws.
Yeah.
I have hope again.
Oh yeah,
I have hope that spiders could just be like, by the way, here's some new spiders. We're not changing the Ragnarok, but here's the new hero on the spider. Yeah. Here's the new spider riders.
Yeah.
Here's a wizard on foot, whatever. Here's a new thing that you didn't know about, like an equivalent to the pig.
Yeah.
Maybe big spider cavalry.
Something.
And I could totally see it now.
Yeah. Great. I agree. I think it's almost an S for me. Like Slaves, it came close, but not quite.
It's only an S because you play spiders and you're a bit salty about it.
No, I think I don't love how, because even when people take Night Moon Clan, even like it's even shooters and stabbers are like, some people will throw a unit in for like a big screen, but like you can't really make like a goblin horde army and have it do well.
I think the Goblin Horde army is kind of like the poster faction, which is the squigs and stuff now. I think it's like you take goblins and you take the squigs, which are the goblins' pets, and it's kind of like that's there is no pure, we're just going to be goblins.
Like foot goblins.
But like, think about it. That AOS is not the old world now. Like, I don't think you could just do that. It's like you're in a game where you're fighting off gods and giants and mega entities. It's like you can't just be a bunch of goblins high on mushrooms.
That's fair.
You need some power.
Yeah, somebody needs to take something.
Someone needs to bring some power. But yeah, I love this book. I have no notes.
Okay. We'll take a quick super chat. A quick break before we move on to the last chunk here.
Oh, yeah.
Liberty Fires, thank you. Big supporter of the channel. I've been reading about algorithms recently, and it raised a question. What are your thoughts on Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift at the football game?
So you know why he's done that, right?
Yes, of course.
I love it. I'm happy for them.
I don't understand why anyone is annoyed. I don't understand why anyone's excited.
I think it's just more the fact that if suddenly someone took a photo of Taylor Swift painting a Games Workshop miniature, Games Workshop stock would skyrocket into the atmosphere, and everyone would be playing Warhammer.
Yeah, I remember like the ranch apparently comment, like she was having, I forget, dipping something in ranch, and people were like, "Whoa, ranch!" Like it's like made a weird.
It's so hot right now. It's like that meme from Zoolander. I mean, she is the most famous person on Earth. Whatever she's into, a whole bunch of people are going to be into. Yeah. Apparently right now it's some footballer on the football team. So, good for him and good for them, I guess.
Yeah, it's like Taylor Swift and Beyonce, and that's like pretty much it. That's like
maybe... But I mean, jokes aside, look at what happened when Henry Cavill was like, oh, actually, I'm really into Warhammer and I paint miniatures. And he just started talking about it. Like, now Amazon are making probably a TV show with him and Games Workshop. It's like, stars have the power to do this stuff.
What AOS army does Taylor Swift play?
Oh,
and
that's a great question.
What AOS army does Beyonce play? Because we'll just throw her in there too. I know Meg will appreciate me asking.
Okay. Taylor Swift. Oh, I don't know. Taylor Swift, I think, would be a toss-up between Iden F. Deakin.
Okay.
Because they're a really pretty army, and I think she would enjoy painting them.
Like that, yeah.
She just like that.
Yeah.
Or Gloomspike Gitz, because I think she's a little chaotic.
Yeah.
I think she'd appreciate the cute little guys with their cute little pets, but they also can hit like a freight train. I think she'd be into that.
I think you nailed it. Maybe Sylvaneth.
They're a bit brown though. She's all about bright colors
and
she's a pop star, right?
Okay.
They're a bit brown.
Okay, I like those. Beyonce, what do you think Beyonce plays?
Do you know what? I'm gonna go with Beyonce again, depending on what mood she's in. She's either a she's either a Stormcast Eternals player,
I can see that
because they're gold.
I can see that.
And she's the queen. Or Slaves to Darkness, because they also kind of like gold, and she is also the queen. I think it just depends on who she wants to be queen of.
Both of those.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. All right. Back to let's get serious again here. Okay.
I was serious.
Next,
so serious.
Next, we have another book that I don't super know a ton about. Again, have not played against the new Battletomes.
Sounds like you need to play more Age of Sigmar, actually.
These two are it. Carried on Overlords.
Oh yeah, KO. Yeah. What did I give KO?
You gave KO.
I see it.
There it is.
I got it. Yeah. So KO. I mean, this could be quick. Cool models.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough models.
Yeah.
So
it's a new line that has kind of progress on it. Seems to have stopped.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very limited.
Yeah.
But very cool, very distinct, very flavorful. Love the theme of them. Love all the pirate dwarf stuff. Love the way they build their own sub factions by you basically combining your own legal document. I think that's super cool. They're hard to play against and they're annoying to play against, and I think they're kind of frustrating to play with because they have a lot of once per game effects, and you have to keep track of all of them. Like, no joke, the guy I played at Bay Area Open, lovely guy, great game. He had a full-on checklist for all of his once per game effects, because there's that many of them. So there's a lot of bookkeeping with the army, and I just think there's not a lot of build variety. I think you either go all guns all the time, or you go transports delivering combat guys all the time. And
that's a little harder even.
Yeah, and I don't like the whole thing that you basically keep most of your army off the board.
Yeah.
I'm like, it feels odd, and it's kind of weird. But that's my take anyway. How about you?
My experience is somewhat limited, but I would agree. Cool model line, cool lore. needs a little bit of something else. Just, it's hard because we're sitting here saying the same thing to Matt Rose. Make more models. Sell us more things.
Yeah.
But, the pace of models being released is probably okay. It's like...
I can't keep up.
Yeah, right?
So,
exactly. We both put this in B.
Yeah, I feel like that's...
Yeah.
Again, I think with a second wave... Actually, do you know what? I'm going to put a prediction out there. And I might have said this before, but I'm saying it again so it's on the record. I think what will happen is they will do a third dwarf book, which will be the classic dwarves reimagined, the dispossessed.
Yeah.
And then they will roll Fire Slayers and Caradron into them, and then you'll get a very similar thing where you can kind of mix and match them all together. The dwarves are the transports, bring in the Fire Slayers with the guns of the supporting.
They kind of put all these order armies out there for us early on. I mean, starting in the and then now you're starting to see like actually we're just missing one piece that would make a dwarf book, make an elf book.
I think
right?
so. I think so. Yeah. So while I think a wave 2 of the KO could be interesting to expand their fiction, I think it's got a very limited place it can go because of what they are and what they're about.
Yeah,
you can't really do much more with them because they're sky pirates who wear suits and fly ships.
Yeah.
So adding the dispossessed to it and bringing the dwarves all together would be the logical thing, and then giving them their god. So you've got Grunny, and then you can kind of take whatever dwarfs you want.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the criticisms leveled at the book from that side of things probably will fix themselves when they get round to doing the dispossessed and bringing the dwarf faction back together. It's very fragmented right now.
Agree. Okay.
Who's next?
Oh, Khorne, and I just gave it away.
Oh, okay, great.
I did this.
Well, Khorne's an A.
Khorne's an A. I think Khorne's a B.
You think Khorne's a B?
But it's close to an A. Seems actually, in the past week, I've seen people bringing out the demons more, not just the mortals.
Yeah, you've played against Khorne a lot, I think, which has not been great for this perspective.
And I'm trying to think. I see a lot of variety, but, Bloodthirster seem to be a must. That's okay.
Hi, Cat.
Hey, Choplin.
Hi.
Bloodthirsters seem to be a must. I think the army is weird. I'm not sure here's the thing. I'm not sure it actually fits in the play space of what I imagine Khorne being like.
Right, but I think that's why it's so good.
That's why it's so good. And there are other armies that do, which is my army, quite frankly, ogres. And whenever I play them, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to win any of these fights I want. I have to watch out for weird tricks. That's how I'm going to lose. Ogres are way more smashier, way more crushier, wring your neck. Daughters too, way more damage output. Whenever I play against Khorne, I'm like, okay, I just got to be careful because they're going to have these weird, stupid little things that happen. But I'll win any of these fights, right? I'm not worried about any of these models. Scarbrand can be good. He can do a lot of damage, but he's also very easy to pick up.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a funky army.
It is a funky army, but I think that's why I kind of like to put it in A for purely for effort, because I think it's got a great range. I love the range. I think the new additions to the range have been really nice.
Mm-hmm. There's really no old gross models you have to take.
No, Bloodletters are probably the oldest and grossest thing, and they're alright.
They're great.
They're fine.
I think I know they're a pain in the butt to assemble.
But they're nice. They look good on the table. Yeah. But yeah, I love the fact that they went in a really different direction with them, and they made them this really control-y, tricksy, movement shenanigans army, because they are very limited in what they can do, because they don't have wizards, they really don't like magic, they don't really have range to speak of at all.
Not really in Sigmar.
So they're very limited to what they can what tools they have in their toolbox, and I think that they've really found ways to make them shine. Clever. Yeah, because otherwise it would just be a destruction army with a different face.
Yeah.
If it was just, every unit's really good at combat because they worship Khorne, it'd be boring. You'd push it forward, you'd roll a bunch of dice, and that'd be the end of it. I like that they've kind of expanded them to be more about this, using the blood tithe to kind of, in sort of bring Khorne's will onto the battlefield and do a bunch of weird shenanigans.
The blood tithe thing is cool. The blood tithe thing, you sit there, you're a little bit worried about it, but it never really feels broken. But it feels like it's helping the Khorne player have a good time.
Yeah, no,
and it's like a perfect mechanic.
And they're fun to play with. I've enjoyed the few games I played with the new book. They're fun to play against. I always think they're a fun army to play against. And like you say, they keep you on your toes. You can't just relax on your laurels, being like, I'm going to win this fight, because you don't know what shenanigans are going to happen. And they do have some punchy guys, like the Bloodthirsters are pretty killy. Scarbrand's pretty killy.
Yeah.
If you don't respect them,
they're punchy. They're not quite as punchy as you think they might be.
No, but if you don't respect them, they will punish you.
Yeah.
Like if you let that big axe guy like get into the middle of your army and do his whirly thing, you will suffer. He will kill your army.
He'll
you got to respect it, and I like that that sort of is what the book's about.
Big gifted membership from, and I have to say it, Chapter Master Ballsack.
Well,
thank you, Chapter Master Ballsack, for gifting.
What's
That's one great way to get me to say Ballsack.
That's true. Yeah. Stream. If you give things, we have to say it.
We have to say it.
But I mean, the question now is, who is the chapter that Ballsack is the master of? What is that chapter called?
Definitely.
Best replies in chat. Let's go. What is the chapter of Chapter Master Ballsack?
Okay, look.
Can I put one out there? The Scrotum Lords. Okay, I'm done. Let's carry on with the books.
Okay, look, Steven, we might have to go over a little bit. Unless
That's
we
all
have
right.
a third. Here we go.
I'm into it. Let's go.
Okay, here we go.
Who's next?
Hedonites of Slaanesh.
All right, you go first. I feel like I go first all the time.
Okay, I think this book has had some internal balance issues. People love Bliss Barbs.
Yep.
Seekers, but you don't see a lot of the other stuff. You see people building around one or two characters, lots of Bliss Barbs, some Seekers, maybe a Keeper of Secrets. I don't see a lot of the cool, fun, flavorful characters like the guy having the banquet.
Glutos.
Yeah,
Glutos Escallion, whatever his name is. He's awesome.
He's cool. You don't see that a lot. That said, it's an awesome model line.
Oh, it's one of the nicest model ranges.
It might be. Yeah, it's up there for sure. It's a super,
still there with like Ideneth and stuff.
Yeah, it's
gorgeous.
Super beautiful AOS model line.
The mortals are all unbelievable.
The mortals are super cool.
That blend of like Persian influence. Oh, yeah. I love it.
Who are the basic mortals in this army that aren't the archers? What are they called?
I forget.
Yeah,
they've all got weird names.
You don't see them. You really don't see those guys. Is there a unit that's foot?
No, I don't think so.
It's just the archers.
It's the archers.
It's the archers.
And then you get the two types of the kind of elite guys. You've got the shield guys, and then you've got the demon guys. The kind of guys with the more combat focus.
I guess.
And then you got the cavalry.
The secret. Yeah, I guess I just and then I've played one game very early on when the book came out against the new book. I've played the old book a few times. The old book was very weak by the time I was playing. So to be fair, I rank them. What did I rank these guys? I gave them a B.
Yeah.
I think they fall into the same category for me. There's a couple things wrong. The model line's cool. The lore is cool. The internal balance to me seems a little bit off.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I'm not super familiar with them. I'm more familiar than KO and Beastman.
I've played them a lot. I've got a couple of friends who both have this army, and so I've played them in very different like arenas in terms of
Depravity dice is cool.
The Depravity dice is so fun. I think it's a great mechanic.
Yeah.
Like the whole the temptation I think is super flavorful. I actually think this book is pretty solid. I think it's maybe paying for the sins of the past a little bit. I think they were afraid to push the army too far because the previous version, or the second edition version rather, because it's had two in third, I think. It had one at the very end, the second edition book was horrendous.
Right. That's the one I'm familiar with.
Absolutely horrendous, and I think they've kind of been paying for that since. But the latest version, the sort of proper third edition book refresh that they got, is a really good book. I think it's got decent internal balance. There's definitely a few units that maybe you don't see in competitive, but we're not talking about competitive. I think they've all got play.
Right?
They've all got interesting things to do. I think Glutos is super flavorful and fun. I think he's actually pretty solid. But yeah, I gave it a B2 just because I think. Oh wow, that was a that was a ping.
I'm messaging Meg to come get Joplin because sometimes he does weird stuff.
Oh yeah, he's like he wants to leave. He's sick of us. But yeah, no, I think this is a solid book. I think out of the Chaosy ones, I honestly think they did a really solid job with the Chaos books. Honestly, I think I put them all kind of B and A because I think they all land really well, and they feel like the god and the faction that they represent, and that's really one of the most important things.
Yeah.
So yeah,
we both put these guys there. Yeah, you're right. All the Chaos books really are except for Skaven, unfortunately.
Well, I don't feel like they actually really got a book. I think that's the problem. All right, next.
Next is near and dear to you.
And you. You love these guys
and me,
so much.
Osiarch Bone Reapers. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Talk to me about Osiarch Bone Reapers.
I think this is a good book.
Mm-hmm.
I think the model range is really nice. as a re-inspired Tomb King faction.
Yeah.
I really like their aesthetic. I really like where they fit in with the lore. I think they were the kind of gap in the Death pantheon that was missing, the kind of very rigid, disciplined, militaristic
rank
group.
and flank. Closest to rank.
Yeah.
There's a few armies that, like, if you really want rank and flank, the theme, 100%. Thematically, this is them,
they're definitely a rank and flank army. They've got cool, unique mechanics.
Yeah.
I think the criticisms, I think, for this army is the range is a bit small. I would have loved to have seen a Wave 2 this edition. I was really hoping 3rd edition they'd get a Wave 2 with
Everybody
some archers.
wants more Shark Archers.
Yeah, and we want like a big construct mammoth type Howdah thing, like a bone giant, which feels really missing.
Some kind of monster that's not... The Gothizzar Harvester, he's adorable.
Yeah, but
he's not much of a monster.
Yeah. No, he's barely a monster. And then obviously I think, they are quite polarizing right now in terms of their playability, and there is a lot of bookkeeping. I don't think they're an easy army to play. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of things you got to keep track of, a lot of different options with the sort of universal command abilities that you can use on every unit in many different phases. It's quite a complex army, and I think they can be pretty unfun to play against.
Yeah.
If you are not familiar with them, or you're playing someone who's built, even not competitive, you just take any of those units in that book and you slam them into a sub-faction. They're good. They're just good.
Yeah, it's good. Their unit's expensive.
Yeah.
I think for me, I rated this book we both gave this book a pretty high rating.
Yeah. I think we gave it an A, right? It's not an S.
We both gave it an A. I gave it an A here. I'm running out of room in my A's. Both of us. Oh no.
You gave it a B.
I gave it a B. I gave it a B. Sorry. I did give it a B. I have A in here.
You did have A
I must
written
have dropped it out of frustration.
Wow. Yeah.
I
know what you did. You changed it after our game last week.
Game. No. I think the thing for me about Bone Reapers, thematically cool, lore-wise cool. I'm okay with the model line. And again, some of these having smaller model lines, I'm kind of like, I get it. This game has only really been around since 2015.
Yeah. It's still very young.
Yeah, it's a young game. For me, Bone Reapers, I think a lot of it feels different than the rest of AOS in how successful you can be with this army. It feels like it, more than any other army in Sigmar, makes me feel more like a 40k army. Like I'm playing against a 40k army. When in 9th ed 40k, and I don't know exactly how it is now, but you can text certain things to just do what they're supposed to do. And I think that's okay for 40k. I'll let 40k players, people playing 40k more than me, decide. But I kind of could get that in a sci-fi universe with, advanced races and blah, blah, blah. In Sigmar, I don't like how often I feel like Bone Reapers are hitting on 2, wounding on 2, hitting on 2, wounding on 3. And then when it comes to getting through them, it's like, seems to always be 2-ups and 3-ups.
They're in a very unique position where, because the unit range is so small, their hammers are also their anvils,
right?
Which makes it but they have to be, because the range isn't big enough. Like, you couldn't really do that book in a way that would like, because if you had more units, you could be like, okay, these guys are a hammer, they do no damage. These guys are an anvil. Sorry, these guys are a hammer, super fragile, but they'll kill you.
Yeah.
If you did that with the current book, the army probably wouldn't work cohesively as a force, because they just don't have enough units to allow that.
And I mean, the unit I like fancy my odds of killing the easiest in that is probably Stalkers.
Stalkers are probably the easiest to kill.
One of the horses are okay to kill.
Yeah,
but
and horses don't do anywhere near. Horses are probably the weakest unit, because
hands down.
They don't do damage and they don't take damage.
Right. But I have that feel that, like you said, it can be frustrating, because it's like you go in with your rock and it's like, this unit still has 3-ups. This unit has 2-ups still, and it's like, yeah. If you don't have one of those armies that can just go bonkers on rend, then you'll struggle against this army, and not just the Mortis Guard, but a few of the units, you'll really struggle to get through it. And
I think the skill ceiling is really high in the army, which means if a good player is good with them, they can be absolutely devastating. We've got a friend who we play with in our local events, who is one of the best ranked OBR players in the world.
Andrew?
No, Matthew.
Yeah.
And I've seen him pull people apart, unlike armies that are really top tier. and in the hands of a skilled player, then Bone Reapers are just devastating.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people feel negatively about them, because it's one of those armies where when you first pick it up, it's super intimidating, and there's so many rules to remember and so many different interactions and synergies. But once you get all that down and you know what are the command abilities to use in what situations to maximize effectiveness, they become terrifyingly effective.
They're very effective. It's very efficient. Again, it feels like 40k elite army efficiency.
But I think to that strength is I'd hate to see them steer too far away from that, because it's what makes them feel so unique in death.
That's their lore. They're like the Necron, right? Yeah.
The ghosts are a swarming horde of angry idiots. Flesh Eater Courts is a similar thing. Vampires got their own thing going on.
Vampires like 4 or 5 guys who know what they're doing, telling a bunch of things they've raised from the ground recently.
Yeah, they're Necrons. They're 100% Necrons.
But you're right. Bone Reapers are like this machine that just marches forward, right?
Yeah, they're meant to be that.
So it's tough, because the way to fix that, typically the way that it gets fixed is with points, and oftentimes points don't fix problems.
No.
They just help maybe have the problem happen in less places.
And it's hard because there's so few choices to make that points, like when they start changing points, it becomes so difficult to build lists, because you're just like, I just don't feel like I have an army anymore.
Right.
But yeah, it's an A, I think, overall. I think it's good design. It's a cool system, like internal system.
Mm-hmm.
All the units are very usable. I don't think there's a bad scroll in the book.
I feel like, honestly, that here are the 2 problems I have with the book that would make it an A, at least for me. A Mortis Guard, I'd rather them have a 4-up save and some kind of always have a 5-up ward or something. -1 to wound.
Yep.
And Cacatris' +1 to hit, +1 to save. It's just it costs. It's almost a joke that it costs a command point. You have 15 command points. It's like,
well, that's what I said to you when we played. It's like getting him in combat.
Which I don't think I ever knew. I don't think I ever realized that until
it's a good interaction. There is actually a way to again, you have to live in combat with him, which isn't the easiest thing to do.
But the right thing can hang around, right? Not a hero.
So I think, again, that army, if you don't know how to separate the synergies, it just forms a wall.
Yeah. Okay. Next. We have Soul Blight Gravelords.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
How are you feeling about this? Is another contentious one among the community.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
It does very well. I think this book is incredible.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best books in all of AOS. I think the theme is spot on. I think there's so much play in this book. There is so many builds and so many combos and so many things to do and get excited about. You want to play zombies? Don't do that. But if you want to, you can do it, I guess.
You still can. It's still good.
Skeletons, awesome. Graveguard, amazing.
Cool.
Wolves, great.
Wolves, yeah.
Monsters, I'll do a monster army.
Everything.
Like, whatever you want to do, this book allows you to do it. Unless you want to play hardcore shooting, in which case, there's nothing for you here. But
don't try to shoot.
Yeah, other than that, like Magic's great. Yeah. Combat heroes, they're also great. Like, this book has just got so much going on, and it's so well themed. Like, out of all the books and all of AOS, this book feels like it feels like a modern update to a fantasy army. It feels like you could just play this in fantasy and it would work.
I think so too. I think I put the Slaves to Darkness up there with this as well. As far as giving that feel of a modern fantasy army.
Yeah.
When I first got this book and I was looking, and they did this interesting thing where, first of all the sub factions like Virkros, I was like, wow, the sub factions are still good.
Yeah.
And then you see these monstrous or these heroic actions, except for Avangori, which has monstrous actions, right?
Yeah.
But you see the heroic actions like, oh, that's right, because this army, you're really fighting like 6 people.
Yeah.
And then all the things they've raised. And this army is about these heroes. It just tells the story of these vampires. And I like that about the Slaves book, too. They have these heroic actions centered around, especially, that's why I kind of like the undivided element with the Eye of the Gods. It's a really interesting story. I feel like you're living a story out on air or in the game while you're playing Soul Blight.
Yeah. And it really is still a book, just like it was back in the day, of the vampires hold it all together, and if you kill the vampires, the army starts to really lose its effectiveness. And I love that they've found a way to keep that feeling even with all the changes, because before they used to literally if your vampires died, your army would literally start to crumble as the magic fades. And I thought that was really cool, but it was very punishing. Whereas now, that feeling is kind of there.
They're just not as good.
It's just not quite as punishing, but there is so much play in this book. And yeah, there's been some, slight internal balance issues, but I feel like they fixed them all now.
Almost not.
Not for a book of its size.
Yeah.
And how many different combinations there are. I think it's actually a very well written book. Like,
I almost can't think of a unit that's so like Sepulchre Guard. Megan was talking about the other day.
Yeah.
They're like, because they're the Warcry band or whatever.
Yeah.
Or not Warcry, but
the Underworlds band.
They're like, you really wouldn't take them, but other than that, I mean, like Fellbats, people taking Fellbats and like ward like.
But there were a few things that were just a bit too good.
Good,
like the zombies and the vampire dragon with the unrendable thing. But I think they've managed to like curb those and like, I mean, I think the reason the book has survived all these changes and does so well is because there's so many places for you to go when they change something that you were playing. It's like, oh, they've changed the Legion of Blood. Oh, I'll play Avangori now. Oh, they've changed that. Oh, I'll play the Wolf, whatever the Wolf people are called.
Well, listen, we both put this in S. This is my first S. We have a poll up. We're going to end here now because Chad has decided that also Soulblight is the top S tier army.
I think so. I think it's the model range. Like, the model range is fantastic. Yeah. All the new stuff they added, all the redesigns, all the old kits that still feel like they fit in.
We all want new Graveguard, and that's kind of like about...
Yeah, but I've seen loads of people just converting them and just making awesome looking Graveguards. Yeah. And even the ones that they have, it's semi-new.
I don't hate them.
No, I don't. I mean, they look a bit...
They're small.
They look a bit wimpy now compared to the skeletons.
They're small. Well, they don't look wimpy. They look short. But also, Mortek Guard are short. Mortek Guard is so short.
Yeah, Mortek Guard are tiny.
And it kind of makes sense because it's like, why would you build them big?
Yeah,
you're just building. You're not raising.
I think it's because we've just got so used to like giant orcs and Stormcast and like all these big things.
But no, Mortek Guard is small. He's smaller than a human. They're like.
They're basically like human proportion. Okay, the poses, they're a little squat in the poses, but like when you see them next to a regular human, they're about the same size.
Okay, so we've got 2 books left. We've got next is Seraphon, also a hot button contentious army, right?
Yeah.
You gave Seraphon. Oh, here, I'll pull up your rankings so you can remember. You probably can guess what you gave them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You gave Seraphon a pretty good ranking. Let's talk about Seraphon a little bit. What do you like? What's
Yeah, Seraphon are okay, like competitive stuff aside and some weird rule shenanigans aside, which, we
don't love.
We don't love happens, and things happen, whatever. There's a lot of books coming out and there's a lot of units. Seraphon are really cool.
Yeah.
I love dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs that ride dinosaurs. I love frogs that are wizards.
Yeah.
And I love the whole visual aesthetic. I think the range now is breathtaking.
It's incredible.
I think all the additional kits just
someone paints that army up nice and bright, cool. It's beautiful.
I said when we talked about when they released them, I said like you will see in a year's time best painted armies at events will be Seraphon armies because when you paint that army up good, I think nothing will compete. They're stunning.
Yep.
So yeah, model ranges I have literally no criticisms of. I think the model range is excellent.
The new spawn of Kotek, so cool.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous. They've updated what they needed to. They left what they needed to. That was still fine. There's a good variety in the units. There's lots of different units to take. Like you can have a really eclectic mix of all these different monsters and creatures and dinosaurs. And I think they're really interesting to play with. And I think they're interesting to play against because you might be coming up to a table and playing against an all magic all the time list.
Yeah.
Or you might be coming up and playing no magic, and these dinosaurs are just going to try and eat you.
Coalesced.
And I think it completely changes up how it plays. I think there's definitely some disparity between the two, but I think they're fixing that, or they've started taking steps to fix it.
Yeah.
But in terms of like a book, and like I love the lore of them. I love their role in the new world.
Yeah.
As like the anti-chaos, and they're like this spacefaring, like ancient race of like cosmic guardians, like trying to fight the good fight against chaos, and that's their whole deal.
Right.
I think they're really cool.
They are cool. We both gave them good ratings, but we didn't quite give them an S. We gave them A's, both of us. Now,
yeah,
I'm with you. For me, we just got finished talking about Soulblight, and I really do struggle in Soulblight to like, if you named a unit that you want to take, I struggle to be like, oh, that's a joke unit, don't take that. Like, right. And I'm talking about a style of unit that's like, even if you're just playing casual games in your garage,
Yeah.
very few of us want to take a unit that it's what we talked about. It doesn't work. It doesn't work, so it doesn't feel like it's doing its lore. It's not that it's even broken, right? It just doesn't work. Fellbats are an example of that, right? Like, they're not broken.
No.
You're not going to lose a game to Fellbat. There's no Fellbat meta right now, but they work and they do their thing.
Yep.
Seraphon does have a few units that I think are not quite there, and quite honestly, it's like the Pterodactyls. They've gone a little bit better than they were, but they were...
And the Stegodons. The Stegodons
they have gotten hit hard. They've gotten hit hard. They were better.
They were amazing, and now they got hit hard. Almost unplayable, even at a casual level, because just for what you are paying...
Especially the Engine of the Gods.
Oh, yeah, it's like...
It was maybe too powerful, and
maybe.
Now it's kind of garbage.
It just, like...
And it's such a cool model.
It's one of those points, it's the dissonance between when you read the scroll and you read what it is, and then you look at what it does, and then you look at how much it costs. None of it adds up.
None of it makes sense.
This should be an indestructible, tanky monster with a bunch of like magic or guns on the top that runs into your army. And it's like the mammoths in Lord of the Rings. It should be like, oh my god, we need to bring this thing down, bring it down, and it's be close. Joke.
It should be like a better more defensible, slower Stonehorn.
Yeah,
right.
It totally should be like a Stonehorn.
It's really not. No, it is not doing much.
It's not even close.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's just a few things like that, and otherwise I agree with you. I love it. The model line's great. Brett has a lot of these the older models, which quite frankly hold up largely. Like, his painting on it is beautiful. I've seen a lot of well painted old Saurus warriors. They still look good.
Yep.
It's like you're saying, it's just a cool story. This brings us to the last book.
Yeah.
We did it. Okay, Last of Cities.
No, we have the
supplement.
Did we do the supplement?
I didn't put it on the graph.
Oh, okay.
And we kind of talked about it last week. We did talk about it,
so yeah.
I think for both of us, the supplement brings, for me, it brings Iron Jaws maybe to an S.
I think it bumps them up a tier, like to like where did I?
Well, you have them at C.
Yeah, I'd bump them up to B with the new thing.
I'd bump Iron Jaws themselves maybe up to an A, but it doesn't fix the rest of the book, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think I'm very excited for their 4th edition book, because I think they've learned a lot, and I think that book, bringing those two factions fully together, I think that could be very exciting. But yeah,
I think they're learning a lot about what it means to have an army that 6s are what you're waiting for. And I know I've had that personal journey and experience of learning a lot about that too with the spiders.
Yeah.
You end up learning a lot about yourself and about life.
And I think if everyone was playing that game like Lord of the Rings, where it's like we're all just fishing for 6s and it's that game,
it'd be interesting.
It'd be fine. But the fact that you're doing it and I'm like, cool. Well, I'm looking for 2s and 2s and I don't care about 6s. Oh, when I get a 6, I'm still happy. But I don't care because I'm just looking for 2s and 2s.
It's not as fun, right?
It doesn't hit as well.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel great. So we've got Cities,
which is the newest book.
I gave this book a high rating. I think along with Soulblight and Slaves to D and Close Seraphon, I've said this a lot when we were streaming games. I said I kind of feel like, well, Cities hadn't been out yet, but those other 3, I kind of feel like we could always pick these if we weren't sure who, like, because there's some janky armies in AOS and we play them. Beastclaw Raiders are crazy janky, right? Yeah. Like, I never take Beastclaw Raiders when I'm playing a teaching game with somebody.
No.
Nor do I take Daughters, right? Like,
no.
But I feel like Cities falls in there with Soulblight and with, I'm looking up here, with Slaves to Darkness. And you could build, I think, Seraphon this way as well, where it's just well-rounded. It's not going to disappear off the battlefield. It's not going to make your opponent's stuff disappear off the battlefield in short order. It's not going to do anything. It's going to play the game. It's a well-rounded book. There's a lot of different ways to build it. Yeah. It's almost kind of a weird 3-book thing going on.
And honestly, I think they're the best books.
Yeah.
I think they're the best books.
I think so. Really, man, I've been looking recently and just seeing people like, oh, here's my Misthaven book, or my Misthaven Steel Helms. I'm like, yeah, you could, of course you can take, and these Steel Helms are going to get that 1d6 move. They're going to kind of look like, they're going to be like elves, right? They've been training with elves.
Yeah.
Here's the Greywater Fastness. They can shoot. They get +1 to shoot, or all attack. Like, it's cool. And people were saying, oh, I don't like the feel that they don't seem like they work together, but I think if you take Greywater Fastness and you put some dwarves in there, or you take Misthaven, like, you're going to get that feel.
Yeah, I mean, I think to what you were saying, I think the best books and the best games of Sigmar, like when you're introing them and just in general for a balanced game, is when you've got an army that does something in every phase.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's got a little bit of shooting, it's got a little bit of combat punch, it's got a little bit of tankiness, it's got some movement, it's got some priesty stuff and like
bonus points for them. They don't even just do magic in the hero phase. You get the orders thing, which is super cool.
Again, which is a super cool mechanic.
Yeah.
I love that they have this unique order system.
Yeah.
They feel like the Imperial Guard of Sigmar, where it's like there's like they are just mortals on a battlefield, so there is a chain of command and orders are being given out, and that's what makes units like pop off and do cool stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the fact that you can ally. They can bring in some elite dwarves, they can bring in some elite elves, they can bring in some Stormcast. Like, the thing that makes me most excited about Cities is that it feels like the book that Stormcast are meant to be in terms of we are the hammers to this anvil. The normal men hold the line, and then the Stormcast come down like Space Marines and murder everything. And it's like, if that's how it's meant to be, great, that's how it feels. And I love that you can build the army and do different things with it and go in so many different directions. Like, we talk about Soulblight having a load of range. This book makes Soulblight look pretty simple.
Yeah.
This book has a lot.
Yeah. And I think all the new stuff is great. They the only unit I think you and I both kind of were like, oh, that could have stayed, was the Demigryph Chargers.
Oh yeah, they're gorgeous.
That was weird.
Gorgeous models.
That's okay though. Like, that's the only unit. But the new Frigil Cavalry are amazing looking.
Yeah.
And the
new heroes are gorgeous. Like, that new command squad thing is beautiful.
They have not done like, oh, we're gonna keep steam tanks in, but we're gonna punish them. They're gonna suck.
Yeah, they're good.
Because Slaves to D kind of did that with the Manticore.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, come on guys, don't take this.
Yeah.
Well, come on guys, we don't want to see
That's
this.
That's what I feel like they did with Seraphon. They were just like, don't take Stegodons.
But that model looks great.
I know, but I guess it's not the new models. The new models are,
But punishing an old model because it's ugly, right?
I hate it.
And I guess, to be fair, the one place the book did do that is the dwarves a little bit. I know a lot of dwarf players are confused why their dwarves aren't 2 wounds each. And other dwarves are 2 wounds. And I think that they also did a little bit with very ugly model, the sorcerers on dragon. That dragon is just, that head is just too big.
It's
big head.
But man, I have fun memories of that model.
It's a cool model, but you could reimagine that model.
Oh, now Sigmar has beautiful dragons. So now it's like,
cool,
right?
Like,
give me a Krondys Karazai or even the Star Drake. Give me a Dark Elf take on that. Oh, yes,
slender up in the air. It looks so you'd break it, putting it away totally every time. I'm excited to break that model.
Me too. Yeah.
Okay, we both gave this one a good rating. I think we both put it in S.
Yes. Yeah, this is a fantastic book.
Yeah.
Going from the previous Cities book, which has served for a long time.
Like, what the heck is this? I'd go up and play a Cities player in a GT. I mean, this is still
describe everything in your army, because I have no idea, because your book is 80 World Scrolls.
And then I was like, okay, and then I just rolled them.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't understand anything. Why is that allowed? Okay, it doesn't matter.
Whereas I'd be like, oh, you're playing Cities. I'd be like, yeah, I've got Phoenix Guard and Phoenixes. I'm like, okay, that doesn't seem particularly Cities of Sigmar, but okay.
Unless it was that, right?
Cool army, though, but like... Yeah, I love that it now feels like it has an identity. It really has, like, taken a microscope to what it's like to be just a basic dude in this world. There's loads of play in it. There's loads of options. That new Manticore lady, what is she called?
Talia.
Oh my god, that model is... ridiculous.
She's
so pretty.
She lets you rally in combat.
Yes, I know.
4-ups.
Gross.
Yeah.
I haven't played against this book.
It's gonna be people are gonna take her and 40 steel helms and just like go.
Yeah.
She actually doesn't hit that hard though.
No, because she's a lady on a monster.
Yeah.
She's just a regular lady. I mean, she's a badass, but
the monster doesn't hit that hard either though. In Vernadine or whatever his name is. The Frigil General Griffin is.
He hits like a train. He's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, awesome book. I'm
super fun.
Super excited. Like, I think you'd notice that we have more A's and S's in the latter half of the release, and I think that's telling.
Exciting.
Yeah, I think it's telling of where the experience of the design team is and how confident they got. I think some of these A's are just shy of being S's.
Same.
Like, super, super close. I think if there hadn't been... even Bone Reapers, I think if they'd have had a second wave, I'd have probably been like,
an S,
Yeah, I think some of these are super close.
Yeah, Bone Reapers are close to being an A for me, and then probably with a release close to being an S.
Yeah, because again, I think it's got a great visual identity. But these three at the top for me are like if I'm going to introduce someone to the game and I'm going to try and sell them on what the game can be like, these are the armies I put in front of people and be like, look at these. How cool are these?
Yeah, I think that's very fair. I think any of these A's and S's, what I look at when I'm looking at the A's and S's, compared to the B's, where it's a lot of chaos.
Yeah, we need a Chaos S faction. I mean, I'd probably push
Slaves are close.
I think they'd be close, yeah.
For me, I just know that anything there, except unless they take Crazy Seraphon with Croak or whatever, I know that anything there is going to make a good game. Yep. Like and meaning like I can teach a new person and we can play these armies.
Yeah.
And they'll be good.
It'll be fun for you to pilot and it'll be fun for them to play against.
Yeah. Yeah.
For
exactly. Thanks, Just Jupiter. We appreciate that. Give the membership. Bear of Business. Welcome to membership. Steven, we did it. We went a little long.
Yeah.
Longer than we like to, but we did do it. This is it. I'll post up Steven and I's rankings probably in our Discord. So if you're a member of our Discord, check it out.
Yeah, come and tell us what you think, where we went right, where we went wrong, how much you hate what D's we had, and why we're incorrect.
Other than just damning it from the Discord, a longtime supporter of Mondays in the Mortal Realms, several people are annoyed and upset about our Skaven ranking. But
really,
understand, I think for us it comes from a place of love.
Yeah.
This is just, we're trying to be objective. We're saying this is too bad, but this is where Skaven are at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you like playing Skaven, that's great. But I guarantee you most people don't and don't want to play against them either because they're just not fun.
Oh, and, when we were at Titans, it was hard to get any. We eventually became a Bridger army.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, do I have to? It's hard.
And
it's hard to put a list
models
together.
are ancient. Like, I don't know. I think out of any faction, they're the one that need the TLC.
Yeah.
And I want that for them because I think
Sure.
I don't get me wrong. I love a legion of crazy, crazy unloyal rat men that kill each other and everyone, and are also all like addicted to green cocaine. I think they're a cool army. I've always like. The Thankwell novels are some of my favourite novels when I was growing up. The stories about him, because it's just such a chaotic mess of stories with them. But I just don't think
the Abominant is cool.
Yeah,
that's a cool model.
They've got some cool models. I just think the book needs a load of help.
Model line release, though, I also want to just point out that I really believe the city's model line release was really brilliant because they focused on like kind of two concepts: the Free Guild and the Castellite stuff.
Yes.
They said we're not going to touch. Sorry, no new dwarves, no new elves. We're focusing.
Yep.
You're getting your hero. You're getting your foot hero. You're getting your cavalry, and you're getting your basic troop. That's what Skaven need. They need that kind of attention where it's like, what holds up? So the Abominant holds up. That monster. Yeah. He's great.
Yeah.
The Doomwheel holds up.
Yeah.
Lots of them hold up. Right. The Warp Fire Cannon holds up. Replace the Clan Rats. Replace. Storm Fiends hold up too. I mean, a lot of it holds up.
Are cool.
There's a few things that just need a minor upgrade.
But I think they need a mechanical rewrite of how it all works together, how they like Gits. Like I feel like they need the treatment Gits got.
Yeah.
And I feel like the way to do that is just in the narrative, just be like, oh, where was Skaven all of 3rd edition? Well, turns out they were having a massive civil war.
Yeah.
Turns out they just killed each other, and the people the rats that emerged from the top in true Darwinist fashion are these two factions or 3 factions, and they're called the blah blah, the blah blah, the blah blah. Find a way
have
to
little elements of
call the unit range.
The wizard guys and the gun guys are in the same
they've allied. The monster
like
guys they've allied, and you can use them all together because they form tenuous alliances to get bigger stuff done.
This is it.
Or you use them as individuals.
Steven should be writing these books. Not that we don't love Matt Rose.
No, Matt Rose is great. But like again, I think you look at the range in the books that have come out of 3rd edition. A lot of time and energy and attention and love has gone to specific groups that needed it.
Yep.
And that's totally great. And I think Skaven were like, not this time, next time. I feel like Skaven is like, they are aware.
I think cities got this. I think a lot of energy and effort went into cities.
Slaves, they both had huge refreshes that were very much earned and deserved. And I think, I am not worried at all. I think Skaven's time will come.
Yeah, I think so as well.
It's just, will it be Old World? Will it be Sigmar? What will they do with them?
I think so too. And with that, we did it.
Yeah, we did.
We did it more than doing it. Also,
we did so much.
Next week, I think.
We didn't even talk about a game.
We didn't get to talk about a game. We did play a game. It was pretty close.
Yeah.
I continue to struggle to beat Steven and his Bone Reapers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think maybe I played everything okay. I'm not sure. Well, how did you feel about
it was a
game?
close game.
Yeah.
I think it could have gone either way. I think some things went in your favor in terms of like you got all the double turns. I had no double turns.
I did get a good double turn. Yeah.
So that definitely helped. It was a many objective based game. There were many of them, and then there were 6, which always kind of works against Bone Reapers.
Nexus control, but you get to pull them.
Yes.
Yeah. Nexus collapse.
Nexus collapse.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting. It was a new list I'd not run before because the Bone Reaper points changed, so I had to figure out a new list.
Yeah.
So it was my first time using that specific list, which I definitely learned some things from that I will apply next time I play with them. But even though I love that army and I'm super confident with them a lot of the time, facing that many Stonehorns is still it's scary.
We were able to pick up Mortruck Guard, but just struggle against those Immortus Guard. And that block of Immortus and Cacatros, that area is like, I don't know what cracks that.
I need to definitely be more aggressive with Cacatros and just jam him forward because he's just so scary for hero monsters to go into because he just pulls them apart.
I think maybe if I can get those guys rolling 3s, not 2s, then Witch Elves become interesting.
I think the dark
Marathi and Witch Elves are interesting against that.
Not Dark Elves, what are they called?
Daughters of Cain.
Daughters, yeah. We need to play that matchup.
But that block of 6 Immortus Guard in him, that's just like, I don't want to go near with Stonehorns. I don't really want to go near with anything. You even didn't cast the Fort Mortal. I don't think you got it off once. No. So you got it off when it didn't matter or something.
Yeah, I had it turn 1, and then we didn't.
But that spell, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm going to be waiting for Steven to not have 4 mortals on a Mortis Guard. But there's still just like, there's too many ways.
The ward save.
The ward save.
Yeah, the ward save, yeah.
There's too many ways to just still keep them at a 2 up against Ren 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was sad that the 30 Mortec died. I mean, you did charge a pack of Mornfang and 2 Stonehorns into them. But I was sad because I've not yet got to use the new version of the Harvester.
Well, that's...
So I couldn't... I literally... You wiped that whole flank out and I'm like, well, that was only 500 points, but I have no idea what that 500 points does.
That's why the 3-up save in Sigmar is really good. Because once you have... Ren 1 is kind of common.
Yeah.
Once you have a 3-up save, you put yourself in a position to pretty much have that between... all defense, Mystic Shield, between the tools out there, most armies can sit on a 2-up if they have a 3-up save. Yeah. And that's why I whine about Cacatros, is because he just gives out this huge bubble of that. And it doesn't feel as bad on Mortruck Guard because they're 4, maybe they're going to, wherever they go, you can only be but 1 better on the dice. That rule right there, that's what makes 3-up scary.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're 3-up on your sheet, you can, in Sigmar, stay at 2 up.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. It's scary, but it was a good game.
It was good. It was a good game. It went better than I thought it was gonna go.
Yeah, I was definitely a bit too. I didn't get the buffs off I needed to when I needed to. Every time I got them off, I would get, it would then. They weren't in combat and I couldn't benefit, and then it was my turn and I didn't get them back off. I had pretty weak magic.
You also had like bad luck with the priority, and
I did.
I run away a lot.
And I also that turn I completely whiffed my saves against the second Stonehorn. Like he just I had only lost about I think 8 more
My Frostler kept whiffing.
Yeah,
my Frostler could not kill 4 horses.
Your Frostlord did nothing.
But then the Stonehorn Riders wiped out, picked up Mortruck Guard.
Yeah, I thought the Mortruck Guard, I might get away with them surviving, and that last Stonehorn, I didn't pass any saves on the Tusk attacks, and he just killed the whole unit. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah. Nice.
Because I think if one guy had lived, and then the Gothisar got to do its thing.
Oh, I'd be...
we're in a whole different world.
We're eating pizza.
Because then I get to do the regeneration from Cacatros and the other wizard, and then it's like, oh, the unit's back.
And Stonehorns are good at that. They're good at making sure something's gone. Listen, we can do the other matchup soon. I do have here my new daughter's Crown Spine. Almost done. Needs a little bit of cleanup.
I can already tell you how that match is going to go.
I don't know how that's going to go. You think it's going to be rough for you? Or you
2 unkillable units is rough. I don't know. I think that's rough for everyone.
With Rend.
With Rend.
Rend.
So I don't care about him killing anything. He's just not. I just won't be able to move anywhere.
But Mordcheck Guard will max him out 18.
Yeah, but
Fast.
it still takes them two turns. Yeah. That's a lot of time. Most Sigmar games are decided by the end of turn 3.
That's true.
But yeah, we'll do that matchup. It'll be interesting because I've not played against daughters in a time.
Yeah.
I haven't this whole battle General's Handbook. I haven't played them.
Yeah.
So it'd be fun to see them.
Very nice. All right, guys. With that, we will see you next week. We'll probably be talking about all the crazy stuff coming out of game day.
So it's this weekend?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll talk about that stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
See you guys.
Bye.